Brothers and sisters, on the fourth Sunday of Lent, also known as Laetare Sunday, you see that the priest no longer wears violet. We wear rose. That explains why my chasuble is not violet today, but rose. Mother Church knows that going 40 days, fasting, praying, and giving alms sometimes can become a grim exercise. So, middle way of the journey, the church would always introduce something as if to lighten the season, but also to encourage us to what is ahead. So, usually you mix a little white with violet, and very likely you are going to get rose. So the white will represent the joy of Easter, which is coming, and the violet, the season in which we are. So that the rose should encourage each and every one of us who is already getting tired of the Lenten season to revive your energy and to travel the distance to the end. 2 or so days ago, I was talking to a parishioner, and the person said, "Father, as for me, Lent is over." And you know, I'll always ask why. So I asked why. He said, "Father, all the things I resolved to do, after 1 week, they are out of the window." But I'm sure the person's story may not be too different from our stories. There were other areas we were doing well. Some we have been forgotten. We said we're going to do better this Lenten season. Mother Church is reminding us that Easter will be here soon, so don't give up. Don't give up on your Lenten resolutions. Don't give up on your Lenten practices. If we are calling it Laetare Sunday, it is because the entrance antiphon today is saying, "Rejoice, Jerusalem, exult." So let that rejoicing fill our hearts, because very soon we are going to celebrate the events of our salvation. So don't give up on Lent. Don't give up on your prayer life. So far, you have been doing so well, so keep it up. Talking about Lent, let me make one appeal. Since we started Lent, attendance at Stations of the Cross has been good. And I thank you for that. But I also know there are some of you who have never joined the community in praying the Stations of the Cross. You've been doing it individually. I want to encourage you, at least with the Stations of the Cross left, make an attempt one Friday to be in the house of the Lord together with your brothers and sisters, and let us together pray the Stations. I have told you before that braving the traffic is a self-penance, and the Stations of the Cross reflect on our penance. So please, don't use the traffic as an excuse. Friday, 6 o'clock. And don't make the virtual version of it your favorite hobby. So from Ash Wednesday, we have been on a journey towards Easter. And as you would recall, the first Sunday of Lent, that journey took us to the wilderness where Jesus was tempted. And the second Sunday, where did we go to? Where did we go to the second Sunday in the gospel reading? We went to the mountain of transfiguration. It is always important to keep the journey in mind. And last Sunday, where were we? We focused on the fig tree, the third Sunday. So today we are presented with a story of the loving Father, sometimes referred to as a story of the prodigal son. For us as a church, this season of Lent, for all our retreats, we focused on this gospel reading, the Father's embrace. And during the retreat, we looked at the younger son and the Father. Because there are three figures in this gospel reading: the younger son, the Father, and the older son. And because we are speaking already about the younger son and the father during our retreats, today I want to focus on the elder son. But before we focus on the elder son, remember how the gospel reading starts. Tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to listen to Jesus. But the Pharisees and the scribes began to complain. So that is the setting of the gospel reading. Then Jesus gives the parable. So the tax collectors and the sinners refer to the younger son. The Father refers to God, to Jesus. And the elder son refers to the Pharisees and the scribes. So as we are reflecting on the elder son, have at the back of your mind the scribes and the Pharisees. Friends, when this younger son comes back and the father is having the party, we told that the elder son comes and asks what is happening. So he was told exactly what went on. What was his reaction? And I want you to think of his reaction to his father first. It says, all these years I have slaved for you. All these years I have slaved for you. I have served you. And not once did I disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a goat, a young goat, not a big one, to feast on with my friends. In other words, I deserved more. He was putting before his father his resume and his experience. And to say, look at this, don't I deserve better? But friends, yes, he deserved better, but maybe we should push back a little and ask ourselves, so what was his real reason for serving his father so well? Was it just because of what he expected to get? Or was it because he loved his father? Why this is important for me is that sometimes some aspects of our own spirituality can be like that of this elder son. Because we think that we are serving God so well, we are obeying God's commandments, therefore we have a right to God's blessings. And even more so, we think we have rights better than others whom we know are not doing so well. My dear friends, the question then becomes, so if there were no rewards attached to serving God, would you serve God any differently? If there were no rewards, that obeying God means getting A, B, C, D, would you still serve God so well? That is something we all need to reflect upon. Am I obeying God's commands? Am I serving God because I'm expecting something? It is one question which is at the heart of Scripture. If you remember Job's story, that conversation between Satan and God, Satan would ask God, does Job serve you for nothing? That was the reason why Job was tempted, to prove whether he was serving God for something or for nothing. So this morning, as we travel this week, it is something we all need to keep reflecting on. But I suggest to you that to grow spiritually, what matters most is that if I am obeying God's commandments, it is not because of what I would get from God. I am doing it because I love God. I am obeying God's commandments because I love God. Our parents who did the old catechism, the Baltimore catechism they call it, will tell you that they would ask you, who created you? God created you. Why on this earth? So that I may know God, love him, and serve him. Then after my life here on earth, I can be with him. So as you mature in your spiritual life, let the reason for serving God be because you love him. Leave the rest to him. He knows how to take care of those who love him. Because after all the younger sons spent were the 1/3 of the property. The 2/3 still belonged to the adult, the older son who never left, went away. So again I say, as you mature spiritually, let your reason for being a good Christian, a good Catholic, a good disciple of Jesus be because you love God. Leave the rest to him. God knows how to take care of those who love him. Now, on hearing that this younger brother of his was home, and there was a party thrown for him, we are told this older son was angry. And because he was angry, he refused to go inside the house. Brothers and sisters, not only was he angry at the father, he was also angry with his brother. And because he was angry, we saw the things he said even about his brother. This son of yours, after he has gone to squander your property on prostitutes, I wonder how he knew. Why am I talking about anger? Because, my dear friends, this season of Lent is a time for us to also look at our anger. Remember in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, Scripture will tell us, be angry, but do not sin. So anger as an emotional reaction could be sinful depending on how we act on it. And it could be sinful depending on how we nurse it in our hearts. Because he was angry, even when everybody was rejoicing, he refused to share in the joy. So think of what you do when you are angry. Think of what you say when you are angry. How you relate to people you call friends and family when you are angry. And sometimes when our anger has passed, we pretend as if nothing has happened. You know, there's a story of a young boy who told the grandmother that, "Mother, I get angry too many times." And the grandma said, "Look, I'll give you a box of nails. Whenever you are angry, go to the backyard and drive those nails in the fence." So young as he was, he enjoyed the exercise. After 2 weeks, that whole box of nails were done. So he went back, "Grandma, can I get another box?" She said, "No, now let's go back to the fence wall. Now remove all the nails." So he did. Then after he removed the nails, the grandmother said, "Look, removing the nails is like saying sorry to somebody you have hurt out of anger. But the holes will be there because they are like scars in the heart of the person." And that is why this season of Lent, we shouldn't create more holes in people's hearts because of anger. So yes, you can be angry, but do not sin. And scripture will go on to say, "Do not let the sun set on your anger." The same Ephesians 4:26. Do not let the sun set on your anger. So don't go to bed angry. There's a misunderstanding in your office. Don't go to bed angry. Or between you and your husband, between you and your children, don't go to bed angry. Resolve the issue. So as we celebrate the 4th Sunday of Lent, I have made 2 points for your reflection. What are your real reasons for serving God? Is it because of what you get? Or you are serving God because you love Him? And I suggest to you, let us all obey God and serve Him so well out of love. As to what we will get from it, let us leave it to Him. And point number 2, watch your anger. For the next 2 weeks of Lent, next 3 weeks of Lent, pay attention to anger. And don't leave scars in the hearts of people because you were angry.